Okay students, now we shall be talking about the second topic. We have completed the first topic in the previous videos. Now the second topic is the outbreak of revolution. But here, before I start with the outbreak of revolution, as we were talking about the following events, and because of these events we have the outbreak of revolution there. We have the people protesting, and those activities are known as your outbreaks. So what are the outbreaks we shall be talking here, but in this, before we start with that topic, I would like to clarify one particular term, that is your estate general. First you understand this one, then when we go to the outbreak we have a term there, and why it has come in between you will better understand that. So let us go with this one. It is estate general. The king used to call estate general whenever he wanted to take any important decisions. So what is this estate general? In the previous video we have talked about the divisions of the society, that how the society was divided, and we have even seen that it is 1, 2 and 3. These are the estates we have divided, and we have said that the first one is clergy, the second is nobility, and the third is the third estate. So these people, they were called by the king and they should be attending a meeting. So when the representatives, here I have given the clergy will be going, the 300 people will be going as the representatives from the clergy group, from the clergy community. 300 people will be going from the nobility, and 600 people, because 90% of the population, so they have said 600 people will be going as representatives, and obvious it becomes the educated people, the business people or the wealthier people will be attending the conference or the meeting called by the king. So here we, as it is told, it is 300, 300 and 600. So 1200 people will be attending the meeting. When these people or the king calls for any of the meeting, he says the estate general is called for the meeting, and these representatives have to attend those meetings. And the discussions will go on in those meetings, and they will be, for example, it is like the tax. And I have given you an answer here. So please take note, it is 3 marks question. So you have to write the answer in this way. So the estate general is just like a political body where the king calls and he is taking the important decisions. Like for example, he wanted to increase the tax. He alone cannot increase the tax, he cannot take the decision. Rather he has to call the whole of the estate general and he has to discuss on whether he can increase the tax and how much he can increase, what is the percentage he can increase. They all have to discuss, and the voting system also goes on. And in that voting system, each of the estate is given one vote. Try to understand this one clearly. Each estate with one vote. 300 people will be saying one vote, will be having one vote. If king asks for, can I increase the tax? So, if at all clergy says yes, it will be counted into one vote. Nobility says yes, it will be counted into one vote. Yes, yeah, no, anything. And this one is saying yes or no, it will be counted into one vote. So, out of these three, the majority, whoever is, like, if at all clergy and nobility says no, the majority will be no. And if at all nobility and third estate says yes and clergy says no, the majority will be yes. So out of these three, the majority will be counted and the decision is final. The king takes the decision. This is how. But from years together, it is from many years the people were with that practice. Whoever the kings they were in front of this Louis XVI, they were with the same practice. And here also Louis XVI called for this estate when he was thinking of increasing the tax. He also was with the same idea. We will be having one vote for each of the estate. Fine. And here what is the clause for why for what purpose he has called the estate here? It is for the sake of tax, because the treasury was totally empty. So for the sake of tax, and who is supposed to give the tax? We have discussed already. Definitely the third estate is supposed to give the tax. Even if you say yes or no or what, so if the tax is getting finalized, the third estate has to give the tax. There is no difference between, if you say yes or no, there is no difference. The clergy and nobility is not involved into that one of paying the taxes. Now the situation is the estate has come there, the third estate has come there, and they are in the big what is that, their palace, their Versailles, and they were in that welcome there, and they were invited there, and they were having a discussion. Just imagine what will be the answers of, or what the votings will go on in favor of. If king asks, well, shall we take the tax, will clergy and nobility say no? If these both say yes, third estate will say yes. Definitely it is going to say no. If clergy says yes, let us take the tax. Nobility says yes, let us take the tax. And no, third estate is definitely saying no, because the burden comes to third estate people. So it may say no, but where is the majority? It is in the yes, 2/1. So the majority goes off, the tax has to be paid, and the burden comes off onto the third estate. So this is how we can say it is a kind of exploitation. So this is how the system was going on, and these all also were like, and Louis XVI also was of the same idea. But here these third estate people refused to go with this idea, and they said, let us have one vote for one person. Got it? So you'll have 300 votes plus 600 votes. Getting? So these are the, totally you will be getting 1200 votes. Out of the 1200 votes, whatever the majority can go on with, like it is yes or no, the majority, the final decision can be taken. So this is how the estate general is formulated. The voting was done on the basis of the principle of that each estate had one vote. The one vote system, and the system was like this. This is known as your estate general. When the question is asked like, what is estate general? This is the answer, and this goes for your 3 marks. Clear? Now we shall be going with our outbreak of revolution. Okay, let us start with the topic. It was outbreak of the revolution. In the very beginning, in the introductory part, whatever the points we have discussed, those all will be getting combined here, and you'll understand what were the events which have taken place, and finally we have gone with the outbreak of the revolution. So the first one we have talked about, it was the treasure was empty when he was crowned there, and when he came to the seat, when he became the king, the whole of the treasure was empty. And whatever the reasons we have already discussed. So to improve the treasury's conditions, what are the ideas they have taken? To increase the tax. That was the easy part. How can we get the money from the country? It is right from the people, try to increase the tax, you get the money. So that your treasury can get improved. You can have little money in the country or the treasury. So that was the idea they have put into, to take the taxes and call the estate, as I discussed in the before one, you have to call the estate general, because they were like, they wanted to discuss that one, and it was a rule in the country that whenever you take such kind of decisions, you were supposed to call the estate general. So on 5th May 1789, Louis XVI at Versailles, the meeting was held. They have called for a meeting. Do you remember this date here, 1789? In the very first boat, storming of Bastille, we have used this one, 14th July. This is May. So you have the incident going on, so that Bastille has taken place. The storming of the Bastille has taken place. Because of these reasons only, one after the other, the reasons you are getting here. So on this particular date at Versailles, the big palace, at that particular place, they had a big meeting, and these people were called. I talked about the estate general. So here all the 3 estate people were called. They have sent their 300 and 600 representatives. And whatever the arrangement they have made, the seating arrangement, the king sits in the first side, and on the either side they have 300 seats been arranged. Like the side the clergy people will be sitting, all the 300 people will be sitting. On the other side, the nobility people will be sitting, 300 and 300. Then what about this third one, third estate? It is 600 people. 600 people were not given any seat, and they were supposed to stand behind these people. and seating arrangement was also not provided. That is the kind of exploitation, and that is the importance of this third estate people. But see again, it is their importance is not given, a seating arrangement is not given, they were only supposed to stand there, but still the money they have to pay. And for whatever the purposes the country has to go on, that money the third estate had to pay. Whatever the discussion goes on here, the third estate was not allowed to even have a talk, or they can put on their feelings. The liberty was not there. The liberty or equality of speech was not given there. They were not supposed to talk. Only the first and second estate would have the discussions, and finally only the voting system. As I told, it is one estate will be having one vote only. So it is each estate will be having vote. And one more thing it is, in third estate, the peasants, artisans and the women were not allowed. Only the little, like it was philosophers we have talked about, and those philosophers, little learned people, little wealthier people, those only were allowed, and only 600 people were allowed into the to come into the estate general. So each estate with one vote. But the third estate this time, it was little influenced by many of the philosophers like Rosset and all. So these people, they have influenced, those ideas they have taken, and they have come to the third estate general here, and they said that we don't want this system. Let us make a change, and let us see that it is, they asked the king that each estate, they demanded for one member, one vote. Means it is like 1200 votes should be given there, and out of that whatever the majority come, we shall be agreeing to that bill. This was a fair question, a fair thing they asked for. But still it was like, for example, see here, if at all even one, it is 600 you can say, as it is we are going, if at all the claim is accepted and the king says it is one member will be going with each vote, so if at all 600 here and 600 here, it is time. Just think about, if one vote from these two estates is no and it goes off this side, this becomes 101 and this becomes 601 and this becomes 599. So the majority will go off this side. King was well versed with that one. So he simply denied. He said this process will not be considered, and whatever the old process they were having, whatever the kings and their fathers were following, that only will be followed. And here this possibility, the king might be, he should be knowing that the first estate and second estate, those people will be only supporting me, they will be not going towards the third estate and all. He might not be that very confident. For example, we have a movie Lagan. In that, the Britishers and the Indians, they were having a cricket team, they were having a cricket competition, and a tournament was to be held. And Indian team was having no facilities, no resources. They didn't even know how to hold a ball. But the girl from the Britishers, whoever the person was there, his sister, she used to come here and guide these people. It doesn't mean all the Britishers are not good, they are very harsh. It doesn't mean all the first estate and second estate people are not good people, are they so very privileged people, they don't help, they don't think of the third estate. It's not like that. Only a group of people. So it could happen, whatever the king is doing, that is wrong, and first estate and second estate people might not be liking it, and they might be voting for the third estate. So this possibility was there, so king directly denied. He said, this process and this claim I am not going to accept, this whatever the proposal you have put in front of me, I will not accept this one. I shall be going only with the one vote, one estate, one vote system. I shall be only going with that one. So the king has denied. As we had, the king denied, he did not accept the proposal. So he denies, and immediately the third estate, it was a form of revolution. Before, the third estate could not even dare to do any such kind of act. But this time, it was support of, and many of the events were going on. In this regard, the third estate immediately left the court, boycotted the court and went away from there. It was a big, like it is, king ke liye bahut bada jhatka tha. So this is, they left the court and they went away. And these all things were going on 5th of May. And on 20th of June, they even had to make some of the arrangements, and they thought of at Versailles they were having a open court tennis court. and they made their appearance there. They made a meeting, they gathered there, they asked all the people to come there, and they sat there and they started drafting the constitution for France. When we say we are drafting a constitution, what is the first word we get? What is the idea we get when we say constitution? Something, we are writing the rules and regulations for the country, means we are trying to convert ourselves into democracy or republic countries. Then only we write the constitution. King doesn't write a constitution, they just have an oral constitution, oral rules and regulations. Whenever they feel like, they change. But when you make a written constitution and you submit to the country, you cannot make a change as you want to. As we have our own constitution, our democratic country, India is a democratic country and it has a constitution. Can we change the rules and regulations as we want to? We cannot. We have a process, we have a whole of a procedure for that. So they said, we shall be going with the constitution making and we shall be writing all the rules and regulations. Even the rule will be written. They are not converting it totally into democracy, but the rule will be written what a king has to do. And we can say it is constitutional monarchy. So these people, they went off on 20th of June 1789, they assembled at the tennis court, open tennis court, and they started drafting. And that group, whoever was sitting there, all the learned people, all the educated people and high level people of third estate were sitting there, and they called that group, they called themselves as National Assembly. And all, it is maximum, you can see it is the people who left the court, who left the Versailles Palace and they have come out, they joined there and they were making, they were having the discussions of their own, how we are supposed to run our country. The rules they were trying to. So that group was known as your National Assembly. National Assembly thought of drafting a constitution for the France, and this National Assembly was led by, this is the very important point here, was led by two of the people, that is Mirabeau and Adamunnisa. These two people, Mirabeau, he belonged to a noble family, estate 2, and Adamunnisa, he was a priest himself, estate 1. These two people led the National Assembly. This was a big, like it becomes a history for themselves. So they led it, and he even has, Adamunnisa even has written a book saying what is third estate, what generally is third estate and what happens in that one, how king is exploiting the third estate, how people are revolting, all the things he has written into that. And the book's name was What is Third Estate. These two people led the National Assembly and they helped in drafting the whole of the constitution for France, which is known as your constitutional monarch or monarchy, and they insisted on, it is what we are supposed to do, no feudal privileges. They belong to those first and second estate, but still they said we don't want all those privileges, what we are getting, we are enjoying those privileges, we don't want any of those things. So the first point whatever they have said is no feudal privileges. They don't want any of the privileges, and they said it is all the people whoever belong to this country should have equality. We should not be divided on the basis of the estates, and third estate is exploited here. That they were not accepting. Like the example of Lagan I told, we have good people in the estates also, and they wanted everyone to be equal. On the basis of equality, the country should be run. So this comes to an end of this topic. It is the outbreak of the revolution, how the revolution has come and how it has, what are the outbreaks, what are the reasons for the outbreak. Okay, after the outbreak we have a small question here which goes for your 3 marks, saying that we have a statement. A statement is given. Generally in history, some say the statements, and the statement is, historians give the statement, and that statement we have to explain. We have to give some of the events and we have to correlate with that, and the answer comes out. The statement, just see to the statement here. While the National Assembly was busy at Versailles drafting the constitution, we were having the constitution going on there, the whole of the group was sitting there, Mirabeau and Adamunnisa were sitting there, they are reading that situation. There the thing is that if they are into some of the tension and they are sitting there and they are drafting the constitution, but what is happening out of the country, out in the country? The rest of the France see through the turmoil. See, it is like it is fume up, or you have the gadbadi going on, the agitations going on, and turmoil is the problem. when they are sitting here and the third estate is involved in going with the constitution there, it doesn't mean the whole of the France शांत बैठा है और आराम से है और wait कर रहा है कि इन लोग आकर उनको constitution दे and will run the country very nicely. That is not the point. There's so much of confusion and much of the agitation is going on at that time. Two of the conditions. So what is this that you have to explain? So again you have to go with, these are the points I have given, and here again we have some of the points left out. We shall be going in the next board. So the answer will be in this series. Please make a note of whatever the boards we are using here. I am giving you the pictures here. So please make a note of every board is an answer. So it will be a clear one. If you don't make a note of that, it will be something like the whole of the lesson is gone and you won't be able to catch up with one of the answers there. So pay attention towards every board, make a note of it, and when you write such kind of flowcharts, then it is giving you a story. I told you in the very beginning. So these flowcharts have been prepared for you. The first one is, it was a winter and winter was very severe and the bad harvest. Before also we have discussed about this thing. It had a bad harvest. Because of bad harvest, the prices of the bread went high. The prices, because there was a limitation of the food and the prices went high. The bakers exploited and hoarded the supplies. Here, when the price of the bread went high and everyone wanted food and the third estate also wanted food, but the bakers exploited. In what way? The first and the second estate, they had lots of money and they were ready to pay the money for that one, and even extra money whatever these people were asking. So they used to hoard it, छुपा लेना उसको और exploit करना third estate वालों को नहीं देना. They used to hoard it, they used to उस supply को छुपा लेते थे. And first and second estate was given the supply. And the third estate people used to stand in the rows. They used to stand and they used to not get the food because the supply, there is a deficit of supply there. And whatever the supply was that was from the back door was going off to the first and second estate people. उनको supply होता था. Here, then these women were standing in the queues, and how much they're growing impatient. The children in their houses are crying. They're starving there. So they used to storm up. They used to break into the shops. लूट मार वहाँ पे मचाया जाता था. The women were standing in the queues when their patience is lost. They used to storm. They used to fight up or forcefully enter into the shops. And whatever the material, the bakery items or the food, the bread, the staple food, whatever was available, they used to loot it. The king moved troops, and they had even, like at the beginning we talked about why the Bastille has taken place. The king, due to some or the other reason, it was moving the troops from one place to other. Immediately we had the rumors that they are going to attack us and they are going to ruin our crops. So the Bastille has taken place. They attacked the manors. Manors is a place where the landlords or the wealthy people stay, and they have a big area, their estate, everything. They have their living areas. At those places, these peasants started attacking. And whatever the material those people were storing and they were having in their godowns and all, everything was looted, destroyed, and they have destroyed everyone, and they have created such kind of agitation and fright in the manors that the manors started running away to the neighboring countries and running away to neighboring places. जान बचाकर अपने family को लेकर वहाँ से भाग गए उन लोग. When the peasants were attacking onto their houses or mansions, wherever the mansions are available, these peasants started attacking. So they started running away to the manors started running away to the other countries to save their lives and their family's life. The nobles fled to the neighboring countries, the people manors and all. Louis XVI, now see here, when such kind of thing was going on, drafting was going on, and these all things were going on in around the whole of the France, yeah. Immediately Louis XVI, he thought of, and he said to these people or the third estate people who were drafting the constitution, he was ready to accept the constitution. He just played a game there. He said, I am ready, and whatever the rules you are giving me, I will be following those rules. Like for example, if we have written a constitution, we give a rule, a particular, our prime minister acts according to the constitution. Our prime minister cannot do whatever he likes. But king can do whatever he likes. But the constitution says the king also should do whatever the rule is saying in the constitution, so that there is peacefulness in the country. You can lead the country in a better way, so the rules have been written and the king has to follow. Very intelligently for that time, to make this the whole of the situation to calm down, he went on with, he went to those people or the drafting committee, National Assembly, and he recognizes the National Assembly. He says, okay, you are also a part of our kingdom and I shall be accepting the constitution. This was a very intelligent step he has taken, so that these all problems can come to, he can subside the problem at least for some time. Next one we shall be continuing here in the next board. As we have talked about, Louis XVI, he has recognized the National Assembly and he has accepted the constitution. On 4th August 1789, they abolished feudal system, and it is under the guidance of the drafted committee and the king. Collectively, the whole of the feudal system, when we say feudal system, it is zamindari system. The whole of feudal system got abolished, they have removed, and all the privileges given to the first and the second estates, they are removing slowly. That is the process here. Clergy was forced to leave their privileges. The tithes and tallies, we have talked about the taxes. The tithe which goes to the clergy, that was removed. That was not to be given by the people. So the burden onto the people is little lessened. So they were forced to leave all the privileges and lead a simple life according to whatever the ability you have. You earn that much. You cannot get all the privileges. You are also into the tax payment now. Tithes were abolished. Church lands confiscated. Whatever the land which was under the name of the church and they were having lots of properties, confiscated is कब्जा कर लेना, गवर्नमेंट अपने तरफ ले लेना उसको, उनके हाथों में अभी प्रॉपर्टीज नहीं रहेंगे. Those people were rich enough. A little of the property was given to, like say that they were not totally removed with the property. Rich हैं, इतना प्रॉपर्टी छोड़ो और बाकी पूरा प्रॉपर्टी गवर्नमेंट के अकाउंट में ले लेते थे. So that was confiscated. कब्जा कर लेना, the property was taken away from them, and the amount whatever makes them rich, it was richer only, and that much of property was left with them, and rest of the property goes off into, and in that way whatever they have done, near about 2 billion livres they have reclaimed. They got back, and all those properties were in the accounts of government. This is the answer for your this one when he says it is explained. And this goes for, don't go into a detailed explanation, but into small points you can put these points here and you can just write, don't go into all the explanations and detailed explanation, it becomes a very big answer. This will almost be coming, every time we have seen that it will be coming only in 3 marks. As very seldom it comes in your 5 marks, but these are the points, when you cover all these points, definitely it becomes your 5 marks also.